Hello and welcome back to this little project of ours, which is creating this app. So here we have top up bars and a scroll view that we fed with an empty list, and this list has like informations from a small database that was linked to our app, right? And right now, if we're clicking this button here, nothing's happening. Next step for us, for our little search engine, is going to be to add a text input interface here, and then use this button as a search engine. But maybe first thing I want to clear all those things, because obviously when you're searching, you first remove all the current information to show the new information. So let's start with this. We'll create a new function here, which is just going to call it clear list. And this clear list is just going to be doing something very simple. It's calling the self, so self like this current widget. In this case, it's the application, its root, and its root is going to allow us to access the IDs, and the IDs are just like what we've done earlier with the container, right? Again, because when we start the process, Python is going to read through Kivy's IDs in the KV files, all of them, and stock them and associate them like in a tree from parent to children, so that you can find all the informations constantly. And now we can do something to this container object. As a reminder, the container is this MD list in the scroll view, and we're going to say that we want to clear the widgets, right? Easy as that. But like right now we cannot use this function, so we need to go back in our KV file, and we're going to associate this clear function for now to our YouTube icon button that is core to the app bar that we created. So the way to do that is simply to add this information here. It's going to be on action button, because again the action button is a core of the bottom up bar that we created here, and this action button is going to say app search search value. This is later, clear list. For now, this button is going to be clearing the list, right? So now when you're clicking on the button, we should be clearing our list. So let's try it out. And we're good, nothing else anymore. Obviously it's just the widgets that were removed. The database is fine. But now what are we going to do next? Well, first I want to add a function that's going to allow me to do the new research system that I want to implement, and this research system is going to happen in my database.py file. So I'm going to create a function here that's going to be the search engine, and this search engine for now is not going to take anything. It's just going to say pass. Now let's go to my Python database here that we created, and we're going to create our search engine here. So let's go. We created this little process earlier for when we start up the application. Now we're going to create our search engine, and this search engine is going to take a value, right? Because we are bringing information in here, so we're going to call it value, and this value, let's say it's going to be a string. If you don't know what I'm doing right now, I'm using this to say that this is gonna have to be a string. It's not gonna make anything crash if it's not a string, but it's just a good way for you to remember what your SQL queries are doing and what you're gonna be creating next. Usually you're gonna insert text in your query, and we're gonna come out with a list of information. Okay, so I just wanted to do that as an example of how I enjoy working with those kind of like big files. And now in the search engine, we're going to do something very easy. We're first going to define our query, and the query here is a select, right? We're going to select everything from our table, and it's going to be from our table projects that we created last time. And it's going to be where the value is included in the name of our project. But we don't want to search for the exact thing, because if you're searching for project number 10, you're not going to write down like project number 10 and hope to find the exact thing. You're going to write 10. So how do I do that? I'm going to use inst. So this call is a way for you to usually locate information in a string, so that you can like know that there's S at the 4th position of this string. But here we're just going to use it to return something that's 0 or that's more, because if it doesn't find anything, then it returns 0, and if it finds something, it returns the location of the information, so that's a true value. So this is where we can use this, saying that pname is going to be including the string that we want to add as a variable. So as usual in SQLite, you use this question mark as a placeholder for your variables. It's a very important thing to do so that you avoid SQL injections. I talked about it in the previous video, and I will talk about it again because it's important. And then we're going to return simply, so we're going to call our cursor and say that we're going to execute our query. And the variable we want to insert here is going to be val, right? And then we're going to say that we are going to fetch all informations, and this is the list that we're going to return. Last thing I want to do here, if I'm using this thing here without changing anything, Python's going to take it as a list, or like SQL is going to try and read it as a list, because that's what it's waiting for, a tuple or a list. And if you're searching for something like the value 1, it's going to work out. But if you're searching for something that's like 10, it's going to consider 10 to be a string that's technically a list of 2 elements, 1 and 0, but they won't be separated in the correct way. So what you're going to do here to protect you from any problem is create a tuple with your value and add a comma here, which is going to make it so that whatever you do, this is always going to be a tuple for your query, and you shouldn't have any problem with your search engine. Okay, so this is looking like it should be working, right? Let's try and do it here. Let's print a search engine of 10. And see, we find the project number 10. It's here. So now we can just call like project number 10 0, and we have this thing, and if we want to access just the string, we can do it here, and boom, we have it. So our search engine is working if we're searching for informations like this. So let's go back into our Python file, and maybe let's not call that search engine, but maybe just something like search value, something like that. And oops, I just went array here. Search value. Okay. So here we're going to call for our database that we imported as DB, and we're going to say search engine of a value. And obviously, you guess it right, it means that we need to take a value here. And same thing, this is going to take a string and return a list. Here we are. Oh yeah, I'm sorry for that. I know it may be annoying for you. It's asking me to create a functional method. Don't bother with that. Okay, here. But we're gonna need more than that, because here we're just gonna get our information, right? So let's print search engine for now. And now we need to feed this with some information. How are we gonna do that? Well, let's go into our KV file where we're going to do all of that. So here I want to transform my onAction button here so that it does something on my app.search value. And we're going to need to put a value in here. And what is it going to be? Well, now we need to have a text field to take this information in. So let's go and do this. We're going to add, not to the scroll view, but to the box layout, another box layout to make it easier to organize our code. Okay, And here we're gonna say that this box layout is gonna be orientation horizontal, and that the size hint of the, you know what, let's not do it and see how it behaves. And then MD text field, which is what you're gonna need to take entries from your user. The text field is gonna be a box to write something in, and this needs an ID just like your container for the MD list, so that you know what you know how to identify it and take informations from it. So it's gonna be a search value. And you know what, let's make it clear that it's not the same and call it my search value. And then we're gonna add a hint text to make it clear, and it's gonna say enter a value to search. Yeah. Okay, what is this gonna look like? Let's start our app. And here we have unknown class empty box layout, because obviously I messed up with the capital L. And here we are. Our scroll view is now half the size, because 50% of it is the scroll view and 50% is this text input. And you can see that if I click on it now, I can type anything and it's gonna work out. So that's how it works, but it's kind of awkward having all this blank space here. So let's make it a little different. We're going to come back in here, and what I want to do is just add size hints to my information. So my scroll view is now going to be a size hint of 1 and 0.9. So I wanted to take 90% of the height of my box layout when my box layout is actually going to take just 10% of the space. So how is this working for us? It feels a little better. We could make this feel a little less weird because the padding here is not great, but this is working right, so let's not bother too much. Although I could just say like spacing 15 or 20. And is this looking better? Yeah, it's a little better. See? Okay, I can search number 10. Right now, if I'm doing this, nothing's happening because search value is missing one required positional argument. So now we're going to need to acquire that. And it's going to be very easy, because in your KV file that you have a text field with an ID, you can add here that you want to use this text field's ID to feed your search value app. And it's pretty easy. You're going to say my search value, but my search value is the object text field, so you want to add that you want its text. So is this working? Let's type 9, and you see here that we are all right. It's clearly returning the list that we want, so that's good for us. Let's now add the concrete steps to what we're gonna do. Obviously, I told it before, you want to clear your list and then search for informations. So what you're going to do is do a db search, and we're going to call db search something to reuse it. And what we're going to do is maybe call it like results equal, and this result is going to be the result of our search. And then we're going to say that if results self.clearList, because first thing, if we've got information and it's not empty, we're gonna do something. But remember here, oh, it cleared out. No, okay, it's a list of 2 informations, because 2 projects had something in it. So if it's empty, it should be false. So I guess it should be okay. Maybe let's try it out. And we're gonna go with 59, and nothing's happening. But what if it's 9 again? We're clearing the list, and we should be printing it somewhere. No, I removed the statement, sorry. So now what do we want to do? Well, we want to feed the list again with exactly as before the informations that are in our tuple, and it's exactly the same code. So what I would recommend is just creating a function that you are reusing, but let's not bother and just copy and paste it now. And this is gonna take for project in results and add this. Is this working now? 10? And boom, we have it. We're simply like feeding the scroll view with information and starting with removing information. Just simple as that. There's another thing that I think would be interesting is just clearing this information, and you can just do that pretty easily because you can say self-root.ids dot, what did we call it, my search value, dot text equal nothing. Okay, is this working now? 10. And here you reset everything, and now you can search something else again. That's just a choice, but it shows how you can use all those informations the way you want it. And now let's make it a little fancier, and let's create another button for us to actually like reset everything. How are we gonna do this? Well, I'm gonna start by going in my KV file again, and I'm gonna add another information to this bottom up bar so that you have a reset button, and we're gonna say that we're gonna add something that's called a left action item. So left action items is actually something that you could go deeper into by reading the documentation. Just know that to feed it, to create action items, you need to create this list in this shape, so 2-level list. And here we're just going to start by calling the name of the icon we want to use, and it's going to be the eraser. And what this eraser is going to do is apply a function, and here we're just going to use a lambda function. It's a trick that you can use to have functions in two buttons and define them this way without them like being run as soon as you start the app. Because if I was to add some kind of like, if I was doing this app.search value here, what's gonna happen if I start my app? Boom, there's an exception here that's raised, and it's because it's trying to apply this at the boot of the app. But what happens if I do lambda x of this? Then it's gonna wait for something to happen to be created, because it's basically a one-line function. So let's go and do this. And here you have this little eraser, and if I think I added like search value is missing my correct argument because there was nothing in there. But if I was to do app.clear list, which is the name, right? Clear list. Now we can have it, and now this little eraser is clearing the list, right? But now we want to just make it redo everything that we did before. So we can create a new function, define reset list, and simply just add this information. So we're going to start by saying self.clearList, because we don't want informations being doubles, and then we're going to call this and just say blah blah blah, same thing. Okay, that's why I told you before I would create a specific function doing this and then reuse it multiple times, but this is fast enough that we don't really need to bother right now, but it would make a bigger code way more complicated. So let's try our little thing now. Let's go for 12, we get it. 9, we get 2. 5, we get 2, and reset. Oh, we don't get anything. So what's happening here? Oh, it's because I'm using db.run process, and db.run process is something we used last time to go through all those basic stuff. So we just need to do read data actually. So let's say read data, and is it working now? 11 and still not. Huh. What is read data returning? Print projects. Let's debug this real quick together, and then the project is basically done. Oh, but of course, my bad. I was mixing it up. It's reset list here now. Okay, how's this going? 7? And boom, we reset everything. So here we are, we have our functioning little search engine in our app. Obviously we made it super simple, just one entry, nothing too crazy, but I guess that now you have the basic idea of how to do that, and maybe how to use your IDs and informations between KV file and Python file. So I hope it was helpful, and those 3 little videos were nice for you, and I guess I'll see you around. Bye.